Good evening from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well, of course, right? So, I don't know whether some of you watch some of the other social media circuses that are going on YouTube and social media in general, but I use this as an example, right? So, Kidavelly goes online and starts suggesting and name calling ambush about being a rapist, amongst other things, kind of putting him down, that kind of stuff, yeah? And then all of a sudden, a video circulates on social media with allegedly it being ambush that bumps into him, runs him down, Kidavelly, right? And Kidavelly sadly has blood all over him. And the video shows that he's legging it away. It would only seem that it was one man chasing him, yeah? And then he runs in for refuge in a bar of some kind, right? Where it's on CCTV. He's running out of breath, basically, right? You've got to run for your life sometimes. But hey, hold on, 1 minute. So he runs in there. So what he's basically saying, in reality, right, and I'm not going with the narrative of some of those that are talking different stuff about ambush, right? But he runs in there basically so that he's trying to deter whoever it is running after him, right, to put them off from harming him again, right? So it's not a good sight where you see someone with blood on their face and they just got a hiding and a couple of thumps here and there, right? But look at this. When you go online and you start running people down, rapists, nonce, grass, you start calling people names and all that kind of stuff, right? And I know that Kidavelly might not just using that example, right? I'm just saying what kind of outcomes can happen when you bump into people that run you down online, yeah? Kidavelly has been also run down on various things, and maybe, probably some things that they say about him are not quite true. But if you're going to go up there and talk, you've got to be prepared when you bump into them. Exactly what you said online, you got to be prepared to say it to their face, mate. Emotions can run really high with this social media stuff. I suffered bad over a few people that suggested that I was even gay, and not that I've got anything against gay people, and calling me all the names under the sun when there's not one bit of factual evidence to support what they're saying, yeah? And being racialist and calling me names and that. And you bump into two of them. I was thinking about it earlier, I bumped into 7 people that talked about me online since I've been out. And when I bumped into them, they didn't repeat what they said online, mate. It was contrary to whatever happens. But it can really, really be hurtful. So I'm not going to, whether it was ambush in that video, running behind Kidavelly or not, I'm not going to look down. I'm not going to say ambush made a reckless move. It doesn't do himself any favours. But what I'm saying is when emotions are running high and people are up there chatting absolute shite, it's kind of like the Holy Grail. When you see them, you bump into them and you go, oh my God, it's you. Yeah. Ambush don't look like the kind of man to me that's going to really back down from too many people. There's always a man badder than the next man, if you get what I mean. But what I'm really saying is, even longer periods, I'm not a criminal no more. I don't bother nobody. I don't do anything to anybody ever again. But be rest assured, right, that you will, if you do say anything online about me, when I bump into you, I will be asking you. And I know it's dangerous ground sometimes. But if you don't do it to people, right, and we do it, we say on Yummy B TV, to the right people, about the right people. We say, nah, that's no good, and that's no good. That's why I don't get involved too much in the online spats no more. I've kind of grown out of it, and you get when people say things and they say things that are not true, and it can still hurt because you got to wonder who's listening to it and who's taking it in, and they could be turning the public against you and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to take on, but my motto is this: either way, whatever I've said online, when I see you, I will tell you the same thing, mate. It's as simple as that. And if you can't back up what you're saying about somebody online, and we know there's a few empty heads out there that will sit behind a screen, basically, and talk all the talk they're talking, and when they see you, they're not saying nothing of the sort. So I don't really want to get involved in the circus. I don't want to sell the public no dreams, yeah? You'll be the maker of your own doing at the end of the day. You've got people up there talking about running down their sisters, running down their mums, running down this, running down that, spreading narratives over beefs from back in the day, and still using their platforms to get people back, when really the whole point of being a criminal, an ex-criminal, is to pass on your experiences and be able to make amends and to be able to help people. It's not an easy life out here. But yeah, nah. As much as I wouldn't want anyone to commit violence, and as much as I wouldn't want anyone, because what you find is the social media, you get the phone out and you start videoing it when he's running. Look, I told you he was a mug. Told you, look at this. I pussy all that, yeah? Because your ego and you're thinking, right, I'll show you, look, what he said about me. Look, I'll show you. That's what he's like. Living coward. I do that. But it can land you in jail. But sometimes with the social media circus, you can't blame certain people for getting their 2 pence in, all right? I might be up with a bedtime story, all right?